Hey, how's everyone doing today? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today I decided to make just kind of a different video, trying something different. Um, yeah, I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about what I learned from my worst relationship, right? We've all had a bad relationship one way or another. Um, I'm gonna talk about my craziest ever relationship. Something that will stick to me to this day, right? It's a pretty crazy story, so everybody sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, grab some orange juice, grab whatever fucking floats your boat, and yeah, today, here we go. Let's get into this shit. Yeah. So, basically what happened, right? So, I was dating this one girl, right? It was not too long ago. I'd say maybe a year and a half ago, right? I dated this one girl. One of my friends actually kind of sent me her number and was like, hey, you should flirt with her a little bit. She's into you. Blah blah blah. What friends do. Hype each other up, right? So she sends me um he sends me her number, and I start talking to her, and I found out actually I used to work with this girl, right? I used to work one of my retail jobs with her. um I thought she was pretty cool. She was a pretty cool person from the time that I knew her. I didn't really get to speak to her that much, so I just figured, hey, this would be a good time to kind of meet her, figure out the person she is, and something might spark from it, like a beautiful relationship or something. Oh, I was wrong. I was dead wrong, but let's yeah, it was it was a shit show, but basically the first ever date we went on, right? It's kind of a date. We went to this one pier, right? There's this pier in my town, and usually this is where people go swimming and stuff, right? This was in the middle of summer. I gotta set the scene. This was in the middle of summer. Sun was shining, blah blah blah, and I was gonna meet her and her friend down at this pier next to this lake, and we were just gonna hang out, maybe swim a little bit, how it was. I haven't seen this girl in I'd say 2 years, so it'd be nice to kind of see her. So I kind of meet her down at the dock, we kick it off. We're talking with her friend, I'm making her laugh a little bit, blah blah blah, and yeah, it was pretty nice, it was pretty nice. Pretty soon we got up, and we were going to go off and do something else. It was time for swimming was over. We spent a few hours down there. We are gonna go do something else. So, um, I brought up the bright idea. Hey, let's meet up at the mall and kind of hang out a little bit more. She's like, yeah, that would be awesome. Do you have any beer? That that should have been my first sign. That's not specifically a good question to ask on the first date, especially when you're trying to meet someone, beer shouldn't even be in the topic. But yeah, she was like, "Yo, do you have any beer?" And of course, I had a few beers left over because I used to do a lot of partying back in my day. I used to do a lot of going to parties and that nightlife, So I was like, "Yeah, I have a few beers left over." She's like, "Oh, sick! You should go home and grab them, and we'll meet you at the mall." So I was like, "I bet." So pretty soon, I go down, grab the beers, blah blah blah. We meet there, and yeah, we really kick it off. I give her the rest of my beers, and yeah, she seems to be really feeling me. And pretty soon they both had to go home. She had to go babysit someone, a little side hustle, and I was like, "Oh, that's sick." Yeah, I had a positive impression on this girl. Um, Second date rolls around. This one was about I'd say 2 weeks. It was a weird kind of date aesthetic. I was gonna go hang out with her while she babysat two kids of this one woman that I had no idea about. Like, I had no clue who she was babysitting. It wasn't my concern, you know. I was gonna go hang out with her. That's all that mattered. So pretty soon I pull up to the house, right, to the apartment, and I walk in, introduce myself, blah blah blah, and she's like, "Oh, it's so nice to see you." I see the two kids, they're off doing their own thing, and I remember she was like, "Yo, we have some beer in the fridge. Would you like a drink?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I took a shot of some Jack Daniels, just light on the drinking because I'm not that big of a drinker anymore. I don't really enjoy drinking. And I knew I was going to drive, so, I thought it would be kind of irresponsible. So, I was like, yeah, I'll take a shot. So I took a shot. And throughout the night, she progressively kept getting more drunk. Her and her friend her friend kept getting drunk, actually. Yeah, her friend and her kept getting drunk. So at this point, it just kind of felt like I was babysitting them. I was babysitting the kids. I was babysitting them. It didn't really feel right, I guess. I did bring a little weed along though. We did smoke. Eventually, me and the parents smoked when the parent got back. Oh yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, the parents got back, and yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll smoke with you guys. So I smoked with the parents. And yeah, I got to meet them. They seemed pretty chill enough. Um, and yeah, they put the kids to bed, and pretty soon, me and the girl started cuddling on the couch. I didn't really know how to feel about it. Kind of getting that intimate in a stranger's house, it kind of felt weird. But nonetheless, I don't think they really cared. Pretty soon, they were about to wind down, and yeah, she's like, "Oh, can blah 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 spend the night? Can blah 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 spend the night?" And the owner, of course, was like, "No, like they can't do that. I don't know them." And I was like, "Fair enough, fair enough." Pretty soon, the girl who I was seeing, had the bright idea of going back down to that dock that we had our first date at. I was like, "Yo, we could go swimming, night dipping, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun." Pretty soon we jump in, we drive down there, we jump in, and yeah, it was pretty fun. It was enjoyable, and pretty soon, things start progressing, and next thing you know it, we're making out in the water. We're making out in the water. Um, Things are moving incredibly fast. This should have been my red flag number two. Things are moving incredibly fast. But yeah, pretty soon she was like, "Yeah, that was pretty fun. Let's go explore somewhere. Blah blah blah." So we start driving, and we picked up some firewood because we're gonna go make a fire. And pretty soon we find this little grove area. Pretty soon we're talking in the car. Blah blah blah. Next thing you know, I all I'm gonna say is I moved to third base pretty quickly. Things were moving incredibly fast. I'm gonna say that again. Things were moving incredibly fast. Um, yeah, I moved to third base. At the time, I was like, "Oh, this is sick. I'm getting game." Blah blah blah. You know how a young mind might think. Oh yeah, I was 18 at the time. I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting game." Blah blah blah. But now I kind of see it as a really big flag. This girl wanted less than a relationship, but more than friends. Just kind of a hookup, I guess. So I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess, we try starting the fire. Nothing really happens. Um, I'm gonna fast forward a bit. We start hanging out more. Pretty soon we start actually dating. We made it official. We started dating for about a month, right? And pretty soon, we have the idea, right? No, it was 2 weeks actually. It was 2 weeks. We had the idea of getting a hotel room, just somewhere we can hang out at, right? So I remember this actually pretty vividly. It was a Motel 6. I don't specifically remember what room it was, but it was on the first floor. It was next to the entrance of the place, of the little lobby area. Pretty soon we get the hotel room, and she's like, "Hey, Can I invite one of my friends? So I was like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. She can probably kick it with us too. Um, so she invites one of her friends, and the thing with her friend is that she's a few cities down, a good 3 hours away. I didn't know this at the time until afterwards she invited her. So I was like, yeah, that's probably fine. That's fine. Pretty soon we're chilling in the hotel room, or the motel room, I should say, and we're waiting for her friend. And eventually her friend gets there, right? And I'm not thinking too much about it. I get up, I go to the lobby, and I get some orange juice because, you know, I'm pretty dehydrated. I'm pretty thirsty. And during that time, I'm talking to the attendant, right? The attendant was this like small little oh shit was a small little Indian dude. He was pretty chill, I was talking with him, bullshitting with him a little bit, just kind of having just a nice little chat about how our nights were going, right? So I was talking to him for about 5 minutes, and yeah, pretty soon I go around seeing if she brings her friend. Um, Next thing you know it, she comes around the corner and she's like, "Yeah, here's my friend, but my friend actually bought another friend." So I'm like, "Oh, cool. Like that's nice. Someone must have drove her." No joke, it was a 40-year-old man. Sirens started blaring in my head at this point. I was like, "Am I going to get robbed? What's going on here?" I only dated this chick for like 2 weeks, knew her for about a month, really. What's going on here? So, pretty soon the old guy comes in there and I bring out the girl that I'm seeing. I'm like, "Hey, I don't really feel comfortable with this guy in here." And the girl who I was seeing was like, "Yeah, I don't feel really comfortable about it too. I didn't really know he was coming. I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Okay, we're going to kick this guy out." So she's like, "Okay, let me talk to my friend about it." So she pulls her friend out while I'm inside the room with the guy, and I get to know him. And this guy, to say the slightest, he's by far, not the slightest, to say the most, he's by far one of the most sketchiest characters I've ever met in my life. I was talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, my name's blah, blah, blah." This dude in his 40s talking about how he needed to move from where he was at before because he overdosed. Just some crazy, crazy bullshit. So I'm like, yeah, this guy needs to go. This guy's fucking creepy. And mind you, her friend is like the same age as me. She's like 18. And the girl who I was seeing was 17, right? And it's fucking weird, right? It was fucking weird. So pretty soon she brings her friend back in, and I look at the dude. I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna go to sleep. You need to go, dude." So he's like, "I bet that's fine." So he gets off. He grabs his vape, and he gets on his motorcycle again, right? And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And just to kind of paint in perspective as well, the girl who I was seeing brought a bottle of vodka with her. We were gonna drink. Um, so progressively throughout the night, her and her friend kept getting more and more drunk. So again, I had to babysit them drunk people, which I'm not into. If you want to get drunk, I'm down to get drunk with you, but I'm not down to babysit you. And plus I didn't know this girl. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know anything about the situation. I didn't feel comfortable drinking with complete strangers inside of an enclosed room, especially after I seen that old guy. So I kept sober, but the night kept progressing, and pretty soon the girl who I was seeing was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'll be right back." So I'm like, "All right, that's fine." So it's just me and her friend, which her friend was, I guess, considered her best friend. That was what the girl who I was seeing. So I'm going to tell her. I'm gonna call her BF. All right, her best friend. So BF was talking to me, and pretty soon she starts like I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? How's life? Going for you?" And she's like, "Oh, that's good. That's good. Pretty soon, we're starting small talk, and she looks at me. And she's like, "Hey, if you break my best friend's heart, I will hurt you." I have people, I have connections. I will hurt you. I will find you and make sure you are hurt. I'm like, okay, that is fair. That's fair. I kind of just shrugged it off because you know how like friends be like protective of their friends, like who I guess but everybody gets that talk in some way, shape, or form. I guess that one was a little extreme, but I kind of shrugged it off. I was like, okay, like that's reasonable. But one thing that stuck with me was she looked at me dead in the eyes and was like, my best friend is my soul, my body, and my heart. She would be lesbian for me, but she wouldn't tell you that. She wouldn't admit it. She would be lesbian for me, and I can take her from you any moment. I need you to understand that. That's where I started to get a bit weirded out. That's where the sirens started coming back. And that's red flag number 3. The friends your significant other or the person you're seeing surrounds themselves with. So at this point, I freak out a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what the fuck, man? I don't know how to respond to that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And yeah, it was a clusterfuck to say the least. Pretty soon, my the girl who I was seeing eventually came back into the room and was like, "Hey guys, I'm back, blah blah blah." Um we start talking again. We start, talking about like life, about our hobbies, just trying to just trying to like, start conversation. Pretty soon the girl who I was seeing started showing me videos of her and her friend snorting lines. I'm pretty sure she told me that those lines were Adderall. She was showing me lines of them. I can't fucking speak. She was showing me videos of her snorting some kind of substances on a table. That's when I was like, okay, these two girls are crazy. I need to get the fuck out of here before something crazy happens, right? Like, these girls are, like, whenever is it appropriate to show, like, the guy you're seeing videos of you doing lines? So, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to call my dad real quick. I need to step out. Like, I just need to let him know what's going on for tonight. And she was like, oh, okay. I love you. Excuse me? A month of us dating, and you say I love you. That's fucking nuts to me. I don't know. So I didn't really know how to respond to that, so I said I love you back. It was not a good move. It was not a good move on my part. So I was like, yeah, I love you too. And her and her best friend started fangirling. It was weird. It was weird. So I got out, and since I have never been in this situation before, I needed to call up one of my homeboys. I called up my best friend, one of my best friends at the time, and I was like, yo, this girl is crazy. Her friend is crazy. I updated him about the entire thing, and he was like, yeah, like, you need to get the fuck out of there. Find an excuse, break up with her, find your shit, and just get the fuck out of there. So I'm like, I bet I will do that. Hang up on the call with him. I was only out in my car 5-10 minutes, right? I was like, okay, I need to get out of there. So pretty soon, right, I exit my car and I go back to the room and I realize the door is locked. So I'm like, oh shit, okay. I start knocking on the door. I knock on the door for a solid 5 minutes. No answer. I'm like, are they digging through my wallet? What's going on here? Because I think I left my wallet in there. Rookie mistake. So eventually I go back and I get a key card. I talk to the front counter guy, the Indian dude. And I'm like, hey, I think I think I lost my key card. Can I get another one? And he's like, yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. That's fine. So I go and get another key card, and that one doesn't work. So I keep banging on the door, man. I'm banging on there for a solid 3 minutes. That felt like 10-15 minutes, but I kept banging on the door. And eventually, oh yeah, while I was banging on the door, I heard audible kissing coming from in there. Audible fucking kissing. So I was like, this will be my excuse to get out of this relationship. I'd be like, oh, you're cheating on me, blah 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 blah, la 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 la. So she eventually opens the door, and basically the excuse she gave me why she hasn't opened the door sooner is because her best friend was taking a shower and she wanted to be in the bathroom with her and talk to her. Weird excuse, but okay. I was like, no, you're cheating on me, blah, 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 just making up this crazy ass story. I heard kissing behind the door, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, no, it wasn't kissing, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, it's kissing. Like, I need to get out of here. Fuck this shit, blah, blah, blah. I try exiting the door. She blocks the door from me. She holds her arms again, and she's like, you're not leaving this room until I let you leave this room. Another red flag goes off in my head. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch, right? I'm going to say that. What the fuck is wrong with this bitch? So I pick her up gently and I toss her to the bed, right? And I'm like, okay. I open the door and I walk to my car. Pretty soon she follows me out. She opens up the passenger door and she just starts bawling. The girl I'm seeing just starts bawling. She's like, hey, you're the only nice guy I've ever had, like every other of these guys want to use me for my body, blah, blah, blah. They only want to use me for sex. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to be in this, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. She's like, no, please give me another chance. And at this point, I was like, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? So I was like, how can a person get this attached this fast? Another red flag goes off. Why? How? If you get this attached in a relationship, you should probably not be in a relationship. I'm going to say that right now. If you get very attached with a person after 1 month of dating them, you have some things you need to work on. So I was like, hey, I'm going to sit in here and I'm going to think about it. You go back in the car, or you go back in the room with your homegirl, and I will come back and let you know what the answer is. She's like, oh, okay. She gets out, and I'm just kind of sitting with myself at that point. I'm like, what's going on? This is not what I expected from this situation. So I call up another one of my best friends, and I explain to him about the entire situation, and he says the same exact thing that my other best friend says. He's like, yo, you need to get the fuck out of there, man. You need to get the fuck out of there. So while I'm talking with my best friend, homegirl, or BF, comes out to the car, and she sits next to me. She's like, oh, she's very, very persuasive. She just has this persuasive kind of energy with her, and it's not affecting me at all. She just kind of sits there and she's like, oh, I'm sorry this happened. She's not actually cheating on you. We actually wanted to have a threesome. A threesome? I don't even know your first name. I don't even know your favorite color, no, I'm not comfortable with that. And she's like, really? I don't know a guy who's not comfortable or doesn't think that's hot. And my best friend's on the other line. He's like, yeah, you're such a fucking dumbass. She invites her friend and you don't want to have a threesome. And I kid you not, I look at him on the phone and I'm like, nah, this bitch is ratchet as fuck. I can see the life drained from her eyes, and she just gets pissed. She gives me this pissed ass look, and she just opens the door and closes it, slams it, and waltzes her way back into the room. So I'm talking with my homeboy again, and we kind of make up a game plan, right? He's like, yo, keep me on the phone, but go in there, see if you left any of your shit, and dip. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. My phone's at 1% at this point. So what happens, right, is I go into the room. I'm walking to the room and I open the door. And the girl I'm seeing greets me at it, and she just wraps her arms around me and she's like, "Hey baby, how you doing?" She drags me to the bed. She throws me on it and she starts cuddling with me. And I'm like, what is going on right now? She's giggling in my ear. I'm like, what? Like she like held me onto the bed. She held me down onto the bed and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm not comfortable with this. Pretty soon BF comes out of the bathroom again. She's wearing nothing but a towel. I got to clarify this. She's wearing a shirt and nothing but a towel on her waist. So she has no pants, nothing. She comes up and starts cuddling my girlfriend and she starts messing with my hair. And I'm like, yo, like, I don't feel comfortable with this. Could you guys please get off me? They start giggling. I'm on the phone with my best friend. He's like, yo, like, what's the room number? We might need to save you. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Pretty soon we hear a knock at the door. BF gets up and answers the door. And during this time, the girl I'm seeing gets up and gets on top of me and pins me down to the bed. And I just keep saying, I am not comfortable with this. I do not consent. Get off of me. I do not consent. Get off of me. She has the most evil ass smile that is still engraved into my brain to this day. The most evil ass smile I've ever seen from another human being. Pretty soon, my homeboy starts yelling on the phone, he does not consent. Get the fuck off of him. What the fuck are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Pretty soon, she gets the memo and jumps off, right? The person knocking on the door turned out to be the Indian dude who I was talking with earlier. He's like, yo, we're getting a lot of like noise complaints. Could you guys please turn it down a bit? BF grabs the guy, drags him into the room. He's knocking his head all over shit. And she just keeps saying, I'm going to fuck you in the bathroom. I'm going to fuck you in the bathroom. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I get up immediately. I start grabbing all my shit. And I look at this dude. The room pauses. Everyone starts staring at me. And I look at the guy. I'm like, hey, I am not part of this. I am so sorry this is happening. I hope you have a good night. And I shake his hand. And he looks absolutely petrified. So I get out. The girl who I'm seeing starts chasing after me in my car. And she's like, come on, give me another shot. And I look at her through the window and I'm like, nah, we're done. She throws up her hands and goes back to that room. By the way, I paid for this room. So, yeah, she put no money into that. It was like a $400 or $500 motel room for a night. Crazy ass prices. So I get up and I go to my best friend's house who I was on the phone with, and I just start explaining to him what the fuck happened, and he was like, "Bro, that's fucking crazy." While I'm talking to him about this entire scenario, the girl I'm seeing calls me on my phone, and she says, quote for quote, "BF just fucked the attendant in the bathroom for you. You should come back." I was speechless. I was speechless to say the least. My best friend grabs the phone and just starts wailing on her. He just starts like, "Fuck you, bitch! You're a slut!" Blah 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 blah. Blocks her, ends the call. Just some crazy shit, right? It was fucked, right? So I start talking to him about the entire night, and he's like, "Yeah, bro, like that was a fucked up situation, you know. Like I didn't expect you getting in a relationship with her. I thought you were just going to hook up with her. Like, my bad, bro." And I was like, "Nah, you're good, bro. You're good. Like you're fine." So I'm like, "What the fuck?" So pretty soon, the next day rolls around, and I'm at work, and I start telling my homeboys about it at work. I'm like, "Yeah, I had the craziest night ever." Start telling them about it, and pretty soon, eventually, I get a call from my phone, and it was the girl who I was seeing's best friend, the girl who I hung out on the first date with. And she was telling me, she was like, "Yo, like what the fuck happened like that night? Like I was hearing about it from the girl you were seeing. Like what happened?" And I just told her the entire story. I was like, "Yo, your best friend's crazy as fuck. I just got to put that out there. And she's like, oh, damn, really? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, shit, yeah. Like, that's messed up, man. I'm sorry to hear that. And I was like, yo, it's fine, it's fine. And, yeah, it was crazy. And then, after that call, I got a call from, the girl who I was seeing sister. And she was absolutely pissed off. She was like, what the fuck happened? Like, I heard what happened what turned out what happened. This is what the girl who I was seeing sister, I'm going to call her sister, right? What the sister told me was the girl who I was seeing's best friend, BF, pimped her out to the guy who was there previously. It turned out the guy who was there was actually BF's drug dealer. And they wanted me to get out of the room as soon as possible so BF could call back that guy and pay him to drug the girl who I was seeing and have sex with her. And I was like, what? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, huh? And yeah, she was like, yeah, like, and for some reason she started blaming me. She was like, all of her friends hate her now. Like, you need to patch this up or else the police are gonna get involved. I was like, what did I do? I'm the victim here, man. Like, I'm one of the victims. Like, what the hell happened? And I explained the entire situation to her sister, and her sister just didn't really understand it. And I was like, oh shit, okay, so this is fucked. So pretty soon I get a call from the girl I was seeing, and she was bawling on the phone, and she was like, yeah, it's just a really fucked up night. She had bruises all over her. I heard when I left there was blood all over the sheets. The room was a complete mess. Um, Everything was destroyed in it. The TV, the chairs, everything was just ruined. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And she was just telling me how she had like bruises all over her body and shit. And it just made me feel bad for her. It made me feel bad about the entire situation. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I'll do anything in my power, to like help that. I'll help you in any way I can. Which, mm, it's a good thing that I did, but it's also, I guess, I should have just distanced myself from the situation. So, I guess a week later, she started talking with the detectives, and yeah, they opened a whole case on it. And yeah, it was a crazy situation. 2 weeks later, after that, she hits me up and she's like, "Hey, can I see you before I go out of town because I have like family shit I need to go do?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fine, I guess." I start talking to her. I see her in person. Um, yeah, it was. She didn't have any bruises, which was kind of weird. She didn't have any like physical markings on her. I'm not saying that she was a liar about that, but it's just, it was kind of weird. Um, the day after she got back from that family stuff, we decided to hang out again. And another mistake I made, right? I talked to her and I was like, hey, things didn't get off on the right foot. We should start again. We should make this another relationship. We should get back together, practically what I told her. Another big red flag on my part, I shouldn't have done that. She was like, yeah, we should, blah blah blah. We dated for I guess another 2-3 weeks. During that span, we went to a party. We were talking to some people, and while I was driving and hanging out with my homies, she hits me up and she's like, "Yo, I'm going to go to this party. Like, you should come." And I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends." And she's like, "Okay." Um, Another week rolls around. We go to the fair, and I start hearing from her friends that she cheated on me. And I confront her about it, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't do that. I didn't consent. Blah 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 blah. I'm not playing games with you. Blah 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 blah." Like, and actually, yeah, I was like, "No, I'm not rocking with that." I leave. Pretty soon the next day she texts me. She's like, "Hey, I'm sitting with my sister. This whole situation makes me bad. I'm not the only victim here." And I just texted her. I'm like, "Hey, I'm not gonna take disrespect like this." She's like, "Oh, blah blah blah. I'm gonna go hang out with my sister. I need time alone to decompress with this." So I'm like, "Okay." Um, a week, 3 days to a week later, she texts me. I'm like, "Hey, we need to talk." I was thinking about ending it. I was like, "Hey, we need to talk." She texts me a long paragraph, and she's like, "Hey, like, no, like this. I don't think we're compatible. The whole breakup text, whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, thanks for being in my life. I appreciate you. Have a nice day." And I block her and unadd her, and that was the last time I ever spoke to her and talked to her. And it turns out, like 3 months later, I went to a party, and I met the guy who she uh she cheated on me with. Um, he was a pretty chill guy. Like, I wasn't mad at him. Like, honestly, I felt like I dodged a bullet. I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, we didn't actually fuck, but we were making out, like, and like all this like other shit." I knew he was feeding me lies, and I was like, it is what it is, man. Thanks for helping me dodge a bullet." He's like, "Yeah, I got you, bro." So, I mean, yeah, that was kind of the story. Um, a really, really messed up situation, but I would say the one thing this whole situation kind of made me realize is to be careful about the people you hang around, and be careful about the people you trust, because you might end up in a situation like this, and it could have ended a whole lot worse for me if I stuck around just a little bit longer, or if I decided to go back to that place. I was almost banned from every Motel 6 in the country until I had to like sign a little thing down there, but yeah, it was just a very, very messed up situation. So, I guess moral of the story, be careful who you trust, be careful who you let in your circle, and when you get in a relationship, get to know the person before you date them. Don't rush headfirst into it, because you don't know what kind of person that is that they're showing you. You don't know what's under what they're showing you. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. Just take what I'm telling you as a lesson. Be careful, folks out there. But yeah, that's all I really got for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. It was a little bit of a darker one. But I felt like I kind of wanted to talk about it. It was a very, very brutal story, but yeah. I decided to I'm sorry if I've been gone a little bit. I decided to take, some time off of the interviewing, and I kind of wanted to do something new. You know what I mean? I wanted to take time to live my life and kind of start I guess new line of a new line of content, a new form of content. So, if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Let me know what you would have done in this situation. And yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. Yeah, I'll try to upload a new video pretty soon. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Deuces.